Hi lovelies, and welcome back to this channel. If you're new here, my name is Belinda's channel. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Don't forget to please subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications so that anytime I upload a video, you will be the first person to be notified. To my returning subscribers, to those people that share my videos, leave commentaries, and also educate each and every one of us, you guys are the real MVP. Alright lovelies, let's dive into this video. So lovelies, I came across this video on my For You page on TikTok and I thought to share with you guys where this, pan-colored pastor man decided to stand on his pulpit to say the quiet part out loud about women in general, like about women, who is into this Me Too movement. Like guys, I was able to put up some of his stitches because a lot of people were stitching his video, calling me out of what he said. I'm just gonna roll it. Please leave me your own thought and let's dive into it.
Hashtag Me Too would end real fast. How do you false accusing? Playing the victim when you're actually not? You know how to end that real fast? All you have to do is publicly execute a few women who have lied.
The only men I've ever known that fear the Me Too movement are the men who have something to hide. Of course, you're going to focus on the minuscule amount of false allegations against the sea of actual victims out there. And by whose standard? Is it a false allegation? Yours? Is it a he said, she said situation and there's just not enough evidence to prove it, so therefore it's false? Did it never make its way to being prosecuted, as 99% of them don't? Oh, therefore it's false? Are you using your biblical standards? Was her ankle showing? Maybe a little too much collarbone? Was she flirting? Did she have a few drinks? Oh, she was asking for it. To the fucking gallows. Off with her head. Execute a few women and the Me Too movement will go away. The Me Too movement was about no longer being silent about the crimes that are committed against us. And yes, that includes men who experience those crimes. Because what we know for sure is that our silence doesn't benefit us. It benefits you. So rather than focus on the real problem, which is how many men are perpetrating these crimes against women, children, and other men, you want to scare us into silence. I mean, if you're really so concerned with there not being a Me Too movement, how about we do what would really help? And that is using your punishment for those who are perpetrating the crimes. And we can start with the church.
Oh, no, he doesn't want to get rid of the action. He wants to get rid of those who lie about the action. That screams testicle caucasity right there for me. And he a preacher, so unfortunately, we know what that means. He trying. Power tools. There's a thought.
Okay, so this Pastor Joel Webbon, whatever his name is, Webbon, Joel Webbon, he made the statement that the way to end the Me Too movement was to basically publicly execute women who he feels have lied or can't prove that they were the victims of any kind of abuse, and that's something that he has said from his pulpit. I saw this passed along and wanted to comment about it because when I was reading some of the comments, there were a lot of people who commented that they had not been to church for a long time. And they were afraid to go to church because of the different things that they see and hear. Of course, seeing and hearing this didn't help. It's weird because, the church is always saying they want more and more people to come to church, to come back home, whatever like that. And I'm like, you can't allow pastors to say things that are so offensive and scary and then expect people to want to, come back home to church. I think we need to have some type of overseeing kind of, organization that watches out for these pastors who say various things that really make the church look bad. I mean, really, just makes the church look bad. And, it does not help when women are feeling victimized that the one institution that's supposed to be a place of comfort and love and protection, you have, men, especially from the pulpit, saying things that goes quite opposite to the things that Jesus taught. Jesus was all about love. He was all about speaking the truth in season and out of season. He was all about, if you're going to be in any position of authority, you should be the type of leader that cares about the people, that wants to do things to help people, and that is about protecting the weak and the poor, and those that feel rejected, and those that feel alone, and those who feel there's no one to protect them. And I know for a fact that, like, my Messianic Jewish friends, they teach, like, even in the Orthodox community, like, a woman who's not married and say she doesn't have a husband or brothers, she actually is a sign of family. who watches over her and care for her until she does become married, because they don't believe in their single women being alone and by themselves and without some type of family covering. And I think that's really great, because I know when I read in scriptures, it is taught that the church should care for the widows, the orphans, and those women who do not have husbands or fathers or brothers, to watch out for them, to care for them, to be there to help them with their, daily needs or whatever like that. And I know in my church, well, my pastor just doesn't play that. The whole idea of you putting a hand on a woman in his congregation, forget it. He has no problem giving you a beat down. He said that many times from the pulpit. So, the single women in my church, they feel very protected, and that's the way it should be. And we make sure that singles are always looked out for. My hubby and I, we always have singles over our house for the holidays and just for, just to hang out and have cookouts and things like that. Particularly single women. We really about watching out for single women parents, single parents, and singles in general. And and that's how it should be with the church. And it really saddened me to hear so many comments in the thread from people who just don't feel that the church offers them anything. They want to go to church, but they don't feel that they can find a church that's going to, put forth the principles that they feel the church should. And that's just really sad, because when you see people who they say, I've not been in church 2 years, 5 years, 7 years, 20 years, but I would like to. It's like, I just want to reach out to them and say, gosh, there are good churches out here. I wish I could, take you to mine, but it's just sad that that's a feeling that people have, that they want to go to church, but they're afraid. No one should be afraid to go to church. I mean, of all the places, that we can fear going, it should not be the church. That is not what Jesus is about. That is not what God is about. That is not what the Bible teaches, that a place that calls itself a place of God should be about. So, Christians on TikTok, my brothers and sisters, we can't be silent. You hear pastors going off like this, you need to go off on them. I'm sorry. I'm just not about this making Jesus look bad. Really, that's what it is to me. When these pastors say things from the pulpit that are hurtful and mean and disgusting and that are not of God, okay, we should not be silent. Other Christians should not be silent. If you are silent, then all you do is you further, keep people believing that they should be afraid to go to church and that there's no good churches out here and that people, just allow pastors to say whatever they want. The church is not monitoring itself. It's not policing itself. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. That is not the way it's supposed to be. In the early church days, when the church first started, after God gave his son to us and after his son gave the apostles the Great Commission, the churches that they started, Jew and Gentile together, was called the New Man Ministry in the Church of the Way, because Jesus is way, truth, and life. They had like a board of overseers, which included the apostles and those people who the apostles appointed. And they were the ones who will oversee what was being taught in these churches. So if stuff wasn't right, that's why when you read in the New Testament, you see where Apostle Paul would write letters to this church, to that church. Apostle Peter would write letters. They were always writing letters to all these churches to remind them of what they're supposed to be teaching, what they're supposed to be about, what their leaders are supposed to be about, how things are supposed to be ordered, things being done in decency and order and according to the righteous standard of God, and all that. And when you read these letters that the apostles wrote, they were not holding back on anything. These apostles broke it down. If your stuff was foul, your stuff was foul. And they had no problem saying it. And that's the way it should be. We need an overseeing body that's going to watch out for what people are saying in these pulpits, saying you represent Jesus. And if your stuff is foul, you need to be called out. You need to be called out, because you're hurting people. You're scaring people. You're scaring people away from the one place that they feel they should be able to go and get solace and peace and love and fellowship and oneness. So I call on all my fellow Christians on TikTok. When you see a pastor, if it comes across your thread, a posting where a pastor is saying something crazy that is not of God, you need to call it out, okay? And don't be afraid. Call it out and hashtag that pastor, so that they and their congregation will know other Christians are watching. We know what you said, and we don't appreciate it, okay? Be encouraged. Be the strong warriors. There's no punks in the kingdom of God, okay? Jesus was not a punk. His people are not a punk. Amen and amen.
Third time's a charm. As a child, I was a victim of SA for multiple years by a family friend. Actually, by my brother's best friend. And his older brother was my older sister's best friend. So in between the time that happened and my late teens, early 20s, I I had been assaulted multiple times by friends, by strangers, by work colleagues, and when they tell you women and girls that have been victims are more likely to be continuous victims, they are not lying. Excuse me. They are not lying at all. They are more likely to be continuous victims, especially until they realize I have power. No one has to believe me as long as I believe me. That's when the chances, in my opinion, because it's happened to me, that's when the chances of them being a victim ever again stops. These pastors, these political wannabes, these politicians, they don't actually have to make these things into law. All they have to do is put the fear in women that are being bounced from their family to their husbands. All they have to do is put the fear in the little girl that is being abused by her uncle or her father or her brother. They don't actually have to make these laws. I think it's sickening that a woman who accidentally brushes a little boy on a subway, just a made-up example, I think it's disgusting that she is made an example of. She is tried, she is fingerprinted, she is jailed for brushing up against a little boy. But a man who literally sexually abuses a little girl, a woman on a subway, walks away. And yes, it has happened more often than not. And it's sad. Should women get away with abusing children sexually? No, they should not. But I think it's crazy that men do all the time. And then they have the audacity to get in the pulpit and talk about unaliving women who make false accusations. So that women who actually do have proof, have scars, etc., etc., stays quiet. Now, think about that. Anyone who might want to open their mouth and be like, but women, we know. They're capable, and they have. But why is it that they're more likely to see prison time than a man for the exact same offense? And then you turn around and you tell little boys that it's okay because, you know what? No, I'm not going into that. They don't actually have to make it a law. All they have to do is put the fear in you.
Please go back and watch that entire video. But here's what I want to say about that pastor. Okay? He's talking about unaliving women who are part of the Me Too movement. He says that they should be unalived for lying. And that would end people making false accusations. This is my thing. If men were not going around raping women, we wouldn't have that problem, right? But let's go further. Maybe if we unalived every man or woman who SA a child or woman or man, well, they should be unalived as a punishment. Then maybe, just maybe, we would stop the 433,000 cases of SA in the United States each year. And that's only the reported cases. But 2 out of every 3 SAs goes unreported. So that's over 1 million cases of SA in the United States. Maybe, just maybe, if we had harsher laws when it came to essaying, maybe, just maybe, there would be no need for a Me Too movement.
I shared Mandy's post here. I think she was very eloquent. Only thing I wanted to add was this is why women choose to bear. Yeah, that hasn't went away. Get out in November, or as soon as it's available in whatever your state is, get out and fucking vote. You do not want these people controlling our government. Get out and vote like your life depends on it. You listen to that shit, sure as shit sounds to me like it might.
Publicly execute a few women. That's all you have to do to end the Me Too movement. This came out of a church, out of a pastor's mouth, in a congregation. Why are people leaving the church in droves? Gee, I wonder. End high control religion and you will end so much abuse. So much abuse, including crap like that.
All you have to
I got a better idea. How about we publicly execute the pastors and youth ministers and priests that are actually found guilty of molesting other human beings, regardless of that other human being's age? How about that? How about we start with Donald Trump, who's an adjudicated racist, and we do that public thing Super Bowl Sunday halftime? What do you think, man? Yeah, I like that better than trying to keep women silent after they've been had things done to them against their will by men who have done things against them against their will. Let's try that, Pastor.
Like, seriously, lovelies, there are some people who are not supposed to be in a certain position. There are some people who abuse the position or the power they hold. There are some people who confidently say white parts out loud over and over and over again, but society keep on ignoring it. Society don't want to, see anything wrong with that. So this pastor, decided that it was nice for him to stand on the altar and say something like this. Like, people are saying that he's a pastor, some people are saying that he's a political pastor, like whosoever he is, for him to actually say something like this publicly, shows the kind of person he is. He's not even, hiding it anymore. He's not a dangerous person only for, colored people. He's very dangerous towards the entire women in the world. So guys, for the sake of us that don't know about this Me Too movement that have been a thing for a very, long time. I think this movement started somewhere in Asia or something, and it is actually meant for, some women who must have gone through, essay and all of that, like especially women of color. Because I decided to read it up to know, more about this Me Too movement for him to say such a thing. Like, I decided to let me make more research on this Me Too movement that gave him the right to say whatsoever he felt that was right on his pulpit. And I discovered that this Me Too movement is actually something that just started. I think it's an NGO that just started as a voice of people that have undergone, any form of humiliation. I say especially women, especially colored or POC women. Like, it's an avenue for you to come out, share your stories, then you will be able to see people to help you navigate and heal properly. Like, it's an NGO meant for women, but most especially POCs. That was why I got so interested in this, and why he could say something despicable like that. Couple the fact that he is someone that people, congregations look upon. And the thing is that sometimes when most of these pastors, because he is not the only preacher, pastor, that have said something related to SA, women this and women that, there's a particular person which I actually stitched his video, that's about 3 months back, who said that if a woman is dressed inappropriately or something, wearing short or something, that if this woman end up being essayed, that the man in question is not to be arrested, that the woman should be the one to be arrested, the woman should be the one to be charged for dressing inappropriately. And this particular statement was said by a pan-colored pastor as well. And now this same another pan-colored pastor have to come out to spew this. Why is it always pastors? What is it with pastors and essay and women and this? Why is it always that? Why are they always against women? Oh, well, let me just use against. Why are they always having this negativity, about women? Why is it that they don't care about, anything that has to do with being a woman, or they've been subjected in a situation where you can't even speak out because of the shame and the trauma that comes with it? So this person in particular was so angry that women have organized an NGO or something that will give them the ability to actually speak out, and not only speak out, then still see people that they can heal with. And now it's not sitting well with this man of God, a man of God that is supposed to be saying something, or that is supposed to be in the right side. But no, he chose that he'll have to say what he have to say. And this thing I really have to look into, because for someone to actually have a thought like this about his fellow human being, all because this person decided to speak out. So what he want women to be silenced. Even if you've been assailed, even if you've gone through any form of harassment or whatsoever, just keep short. Like, are you serious? Are you serious right now? So he is okay when women are not speaking out, when women are not seeking for justice. He just wants these women to be ashamed and quiet and continue living, and that is it. Like, to what extent? What actually baffles me and gets me so scared is the fact that this person in question is actually a man of God that people look up to. So if a man of God can actually have this mentality, what happens to those men that are not men of God? And they will now say that since a man of God have said it, who am I? I'm just going to do what I have to do, and the girl then look for a way to shut these women up, and we continue doing whatsoever. Like, seriously, when I saw this video or the stage, I was highly disappointed. And my disappointment is coming from the fact that this person, is someone that believes or is a believer. It's so disappointing that our believers, or the people that we often look up to, to share the word of God with us, is not even people that we are supposed to trust anymore. They're just, oh my goodness, it's so disappointing. And the worst part is that When he spewed this, all of the congregation were just looking. Were they cursed or something? So nobody was able to actually stand up and say, no, man of God, I disagree with you. I disagree with you. Like, it's so absurd. Like, it's so disappointing again that people will see the truth but choose not to speak. People will see the truth. So how do you want the society to work if you are in a gathering like this and someone says something like this? Even if you don't want to challenge this person, isn't it better you just stand up and leave? At least standing up and leave without a word will actually tell the person that this thing you're saying is incorrect, it's so wrong. You don't have the right to say this. Like, seriously. Anyways, when I saw this video, of course, I am a woman and I know what it means to be a woman. I know what it means when someone, took your right, like when someone disrespects you and disrespects your body as a woman. I know what it means and I know how it feels to be a woman. This is why I was just able to put up some of those things so that we all can see what is going on in the society of today. Please share this video. Women, stay safe. Men, you have to just be careful. Men also help sisters to stay safe as well. Share this video, subscribe to this channel if you're here to do that, and I will see you lovelies when I upload. I've watched up to this extent. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Why not just leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video, and please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. I will see you lovelies when I upload the next one.